Okay. Um, Howdy, folks. Been a while. Um, I was telling somebody earlier this morning if I was a superhero, I would be, you know, Mr. Inconsistent. um, well, when it comes to this kind of thing, anyway. But I am back, and I wanted to introduce my uh, new system. That's part of why I've been away. I've been really busy with all this. Um, but more importantly, take you through a profile. Now, I've changed the name in the email to protect the innocent because this is an actual email. I mean, an actual profile. Um, so we're going to go through briefly, we're going to go through the behavior piece. Then we're going to briefly go through temperament, which we've added. So we have the big five now. And then we're going to briefly go through the motivational aspect. And then I'm taking you into the axiology, and we'll go through that. So I think you'll really enjoy it. And so let's begin. So I'm going to uh, get us queued up here. I'm going to take you, I'm not going to go through all these pages, just going to show a few out of each assessment here. So let's go to uh, the behavioral sequence here. So this is very interesting. We have a gentleman here. Let's focus on the anger emotion. So right here, out of 100, on a 100 scale, we got an anger consistency rate of 38. So it's below 50. It has not crossed the energy line. So the anger emotion is typically not in play in this individual's life. Um, so remember, um, this top position right here, I'll highlight it. Um, this is the natural emotional position, which is the character base. Um, it's largely unconscious to you. It's not something you're thinking about, um, but it's how your brain is learned to set itself emotionally for day to day navigation over the years you've been alive, which takes into account every positive and negative experience you've ever had, cosmic ray bombardment, your genome, DNA, everything heritable. Um, and then also your environmental influences, your peers, your parents. And out of those two groups, peers have the greater influence. So all these different dynamics come to play into where you decide you're going to be here in this energy stream. So the energy stream of anger sets at around 38. Now, this measurement here um, is the intentional measurement. This is what this we'll call him John, but this is what John's doing on purpose. So look what he does. Um, he completely lets off the gas. He takes an emotional back seat when it comes to the anger. Now, uh, the anger emotion, its orientation is taking, but not for this person. Um, so if you look at the natural behavior, you can see uh, does John make things happen? No, he tends to wait for things to happen. Okay, that's the tendency with the anger emotion. And when we look at his orientation, see that? He's waiting to receive. This is the change he's making. I mean, look how strong that is. That that waiting. So it's very uncharacteristic for him to do this. So if we go over here, you can see the uncharacteristic zone. He's buried into this zone. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean anything negative. It just means it's highly uncharacteristic for somebody like this to pull back on what already limited amount of energy being applied here there is. So That is significant. Okay. Now, just been doing this for many years. I know when I see that right away, what's going on in John's current day to day that's causing him, you know, to make this jump. Um, so the current day to day with people remember, we call this shared existence or shared space, because when you're in shared space with other human beings, you're not just subject to what you desire, especially if you're at work and you're working or married or have children or a close friend or a partner of any kind. You're also subject to their demands, their requirements, their requests, their negotiation skills, all these different things. There's a whole minutia of interplay between you and other people where they need something from you and you want something from them. And in order to satisfy those needs, your solution orientations are found in these bottom lines. And so, what's the solution to whatever John's going through in his mind when it comes to this one emotion? Well, how about doing nothing? Because he's completely slowed the car down to a stop, and it looks like he's gotten out. There's nothing happening here. We're talking about a 5 mile an hour ride. So that's a significant change. And I want to look at some other things to see what's going on. Let's get off of anger and go to optimism real quick. Um, I know this doesn't seem quick, but I'm making it as quick as I can. 19 and 20. I'm not going to explain top and bottom again. I just did it. So this is a person who's very logical. Optimism, when fully engaged in play, it's an emotional emotion. When I say it's an emotional emotion, I mean it's very engaging. It's more limbic driven, and it's a pattern of connecting, what we call limbic looping, where you plug the light into the wall, and electricity flows, and then the bulb lights up. There's an interplay of emotion happening. These are the people you've been talking to for 5 minutes, and it feels like you've known them for 5 years. That's because there's a direct plug in, and there's a direct current of electricity that flows and just washes over your mind. Um, and then there's those people you talk to, and they're just looking at you like, "Are you done? Like, when are you going to shut your mouth?" That kind of a look on their face. That's these lower ranges down here. And so I said anger emotion, the orientation is taking, well, the orientation to the optimistic emotion is attracting. So this person is going to be what we would call emotionally unattractive, because the attraction orientation, see, he's remaining distant and logical. So he's creating an emotional distance between he and other people. Interesting. That the anger is being pulled back when there's already an emotional distance happening. Okay, so setting you up for what's going on here. All right, let's look at patience. Um, Typically an 84. So now we're on the other side of the spectrum here. So now we have emotions coming into play. The patient emotion is in play. And I've said this many times before. The patient emotion, this is the most guarded type style. They don't tell you everything they're thinking, and it's because they keep their thoughts to themselves or they internalize. So this is a very uh, uh, introverted brain type, introspective brain type. This person goes in to solve problems, not out. Um, Now, look what's happening in the intentional change piece, going higher. So 89 and above, you can consider closed. This door's been shut. Um, Interesting, right? What's going on there? Um, we get a slight drop in the optimism, 1 point, but it's a point, it's something. We got an uptick in uh, the patience, and we got a real bottom falling out in the anger going on here. So this whole setup is telling me some things. I've just been doing this way too long. Um, and now we've got this guy's in a vault. All right, fear. Look at that, 90, 89 is really high, and we're in the overextension zone of 89 and above. We got 90, a little drop in the fear in the current day to day. So this is what we have. Let's go to the matrix, um, and you can see this right here, closed right there. Um, and when we get down here when the change, boom, this person has succumbed uh, to the circumstances, whatever they are. And look it, surrendered. All right, I give up. I give up. I give up, world. Right? I'm out. Um, so this person's emotionally down for the count. All right. All right. I don't want to talk anymore about this. I want to move to temperament. This is our new assessment. Which just was added a few months ago. It's the big five. So that's cool. So let's take a look at the big five. We got a peacemaker here. Um, right there, big old peacemaker. Um, let's look. Oh, look at this. Look at extroversion. Bingo. We got a lower um, measurement here on a 100 scale, but agreeableness is an 86. Uh-oh, uh-oh, oh, uh-oh. Neuroticism, 69. Let's see. I can't wait to see what's going on here. Let's go to neuroticism. Volatility, withdrawal. Okay, we got depression, folks. Uh, we got depression going on here. Let's look at what could happen with this score. Doubt your gifts and abilities. Feel personally responsible for any bad luck or negative outcomes. Feel a sense of shame or incompetence when your plans do not materialize. Fear failure or misfortune. Exaggerate potential threats to your well-being or future accomplishments. Fear public embarrassment or being seen by others as an imposter. All right, we got a lot happening here, folks. These are way out of order, these numbers. Neuroticism's usually way over here. Average is over here. All right, let's look at the extroversion. So we got that 35. Struggle to make friends, low-keyed or despondent. Struggle to express your feelings, rely heavily on logic and reason. Be overwhelmed by enthusiastic people types. Resist speaking up for yourself. Appear aloof, disconnected, emotionally distant from others. Skeptical, distrusting. Struggle to get what you want out of life. Fail to express your ideas or innermost thoughts. Run the risk of imagining what could go wrong instead of the potentials. All right. All right. We build in a vision of this individual for you. Is this working for you? Let's go to the motivational orientations. I'm just going to run over to the matrix. All right. So, oh my God. This is we're building a case. All right. We're building a case for me to help this person, right? I haven't spoken to this person yet. This is the first I'm looking at their data. But they're in here. We must have an appointment in there somewhere, but I'm going to let you in on how this is likely going to go. All right, we got a deep V right here. Okay, so we got an artist and a theoretical, and that's going to show up over here in openness to experience. You see this? Aesthetics, so art, intellect, theoretics. So they're high. So this, we got an openness to experience. They have the toughest time in the world, I'll tell you, when they're not strong in and of themselves when they're this way. Life is like looking at a big menu and you're being forced to order. Um, so let's get off that. So we got that here. But look at the efficiency. Efficiency is the part of you that says, all right, what's in it for me? Right? And when we think what's in it for us, then we typically mobilize all our emotional forces to make sure we don't miss out on it. But this person is very relaxed. So um, they're not thinking what's in it for me. That doesn't enter their mind. All right, let's move off of this. I want to run over here to power. Look at this. Power's way down here, passive. Um, passive. So um, passive, power and efficiency hold hands. All right, they're married. All right, when they're both low, we consider that motivational flow. When they're both more intense, more higher, more needful, we call that emotional motivational flow. So this person's in flow. In other words, this person is in line with who they are emotionally. They're in line with who they are behaviorally. So what they desire is the same thing that they'll do. Okay, did you catch that? And the reason being is because power is married to anger. And remember, his anger is a 5 out of 100. So if we look at his power motivator, you see, he's down here in 30s. So he's almost in the, he's almost over the event horizon here. Could you try again? Be quiet. He's almost over the event horizon here on power. This means John settles for what he can get because he has no ability to fight for what he wants. And that's because anger and optimism are your fighters. And efficiency and power are the bulwark. And he's got neither. Okay. Sacrifice, no, he's distrusting. So there's a real strong emotional distance here from people. He's more than suspicious of other people. Um, Curiosity, analytical. So this guy is likely very smart. And you see this flamboyant going on here? Flamboyancy with analytical, that's about 1 out of 1,000 people right there. So this person's an experimenter. So their thinking is very experimental. And then we've got this strong compliance number here in over the event horizon right here. So we've gone into a black hole. So this is overextended. So all I can see right now, this person's ankles are in concrete and it's hardened up. All right. All right. Now we're going to get to the fun part. You can see there's a lot more here, but I'm not going to do that. Let's go. Ow! Boom. You see it, don't you? You see it. We got a perfectionist in the axiology. Now, remember, I'm going to do some more axiology videos. I did a 3 hours, a 3-hour, 1 hour videos, and I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to do it taking you through this system rather than the little things I made before, because my system wasn't fully built yet back then, but it is now. So I can't wait to do that with you. So wow, 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 wow. All right, we got a world perception score here of a 32. So this represents the dim scores in axiology, which is the dimensional scores. And the dimensional scores, I don't expect you to know all this, but those of you that are axiologists out there who may be watching this, because that's who it's going to appeal to, know what I'm talking about. So this is your diff, your DIE, or differentiation, which is the sum total of all three dimensional scores in your world set. So that's a good score, actually. So John here, uh, he's a thinker. Well, we kind of already know that. And this is because he's spending all his energy, see right here, in his structured thinking world. These are the three worlds. There's a world of empathy, a world of practical thinking, and a world of structured thinking. So people, useful things, and systems, right? Feeling, doing, thinking. We could go on. There's all kinds of names you could use here. His outer direction score is pretty high, which means he's reliant, he's heavily reliant on the outside world. He's more reliant on what happens outside of him than he is reliant on what happens inside of him. So John is not inner directed, he's outer directed. Well, 70% of the population's outer directed, but they're not all a 46. So he's highly outer directed. He's overly dependent on external circumstances to move him through the world in his story. Unfortunately, there's nobody around there to push you around in your wheelchair. So that's why he's stuck in concrete. All right. Let's. I'm not going to look at the self summary yet. I want to look at empathy, practical thinking, and structured thinking. I want to stick with the outer world for right now. Let's diagnose his outer world. How is John valuing the world around him? And let's talk about the three-dimensional world real quick. Let's talk about empathy. So empathy is the intuitive aspect of you, John's intuition. Now we could see empathy and practical thinking are lower, and structured thinking is higher. So I know he's got negative valuations here because he's below, he's negative. And I know he has a positive valuation in structured thinking, which is why he's a thinker. You're either a feeler, right here, a doer, right here, or a thinker, all right? Or you could be a feeler-doer. You could be a doer-feeler. You could be a feeler-doer-thinker. Very rare, by the way. I've had 3 ever. And the whole time I've been doing this, I've had 3 of them. You could be a thinker-doer. You could be a thinker-feeler. You see what's going on here? How many ways can we do this, right? You could be a feeler-feeler, a doer-doer, or a thinker-thinker. He's a thinker-thinker because these guys are out. They're both negative, so we're only stuck with one. If this was positive and this is positive, but this is more structured thinking is more positive than practical thinking, he'd be a thinker-doer. If the practical thinking is more positive than the structured thinking, but they're both positive, he'd be a doer-thinker. But because he's positive on structured thinking, he's a thinker, but we only print it twice, thinker, okay? So let's look at empathy. So we're gonna look at his scores here. Holy smokes, good stuff. All right. His clarity score, which is the most important score if you've heard me talk about axiology, it's a 60, which is good. That's not bad at all. So remember we said this is about intuition. He's perceptive. He's sensitive. Okay? So his values, his bias, you could say, but his valuation score is -75, +25. How do we get this score? All right, we're going to go to his compositions and his transpositions. And again, this language, I don't expect you to understand it, but hopefully you're doing axiology and you're consulting, so that's why you're here. So This is the composition score. The composition score is all about the good phrases in the axiological phrases. There's 18 of them, all right? So the good phrases in the empathy section of the axiology are baby, with this ring, I thee wed, and a devoted scientist. Okay, those are your words. Um, and so we can see what happened here. We've got some displacement going on. So trust is really about how clearly do you see into other human beings? So intuition, intuition, seeing into people. Remember it that way. Intuition is your ability to see into. Um, so when it comes to their potential for good, people's potential for goodness, uh, their potential in anything, all right? Potential meaning potential for positive outcomes. He overvalues their potential by 2, but he undervalues their potential by 9. All right, so if we did the math, he'd be undervaluing their goodness by 7. All right, so interesting. When he looks at human beings, he says, they're not as good as you think they are. So we're not talking about their bad right now. We're talking about their potential for good. So this is only about people's goodness, this measurement. It's called the composition score. So because he's negative 9, he says the good is not as good as it appears because it's being undervalued. All right? Their good is not as good as you think. So if I said to John, you're going to be working with Steve today, he's a great guy, his mind unconsciously goes to, well, not all guys are as great as you think. They're not as great as you think they are. That's what he's doing. So he's creating an emotional distance. We already know that because we've got 3 other assessments proving that. But now we got a 4th one proving it. All right. Okay. Tolerance. This is the transposition score. Tolerance is about people's potential for badness, character flaws, making mistakes, lying to you, coming in late for work, all those, anything, wherever you want, put it in there. So what does he do? He overvalues people's potential for bad, but he doesn't undervalue it at all. He overvalues it, which makes him intolerant of people's badness. So now what we've got is we've got distrust and intolerance, which means John, when it comes to people, his brain sits and waits for the left shoe to drop. Okay, that's what's going on. And we could go down here and look at what a couple things this could cause. Very careful and calculating in his relationships, especially when people's motives or their intentions are uncertain. More skeptical of others when they don't meet his expectations. Avoid those who you suspect have wrong motives and don't have the best interest at heart. Blah, 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 right? This guy is highly skeptical of people, and he doesn't tolerate people when they do him wrong because he's expecting it to happen because he overvalues their potential for doing something bad. All right. Let's leave that and go to his practical thinking set. This is the extrinsic dimension. It measures his practical judgment. Okay, very strong Clary score of a 90. And again, the Clary score is made up of your transpositions and your compositions all added up. So 3, 3, 6, 7. You got a 7, which is crystal clear. An 8 is clear. So the higher the number, the less the clarity. So when these numbers get big and these things start moving around out here, The clarity drops way down because the valuation is inappropriate. All right, urgency. This has to do with positive, practical statements. Assembly line, blah, blah, blah. All right. Good meal. Um, overvaluation. So we've got results orientation. So likely John knows what to do and he knows when to do it and he wants to do it. He values doing what you know to do. He values it. Okay? Now we know he doesn't do that, but I know he values doing it. So if you want to know why he's depressed, it's because he knows what he should do, but he can't do it. Okay? And his focus. All right? So the transposition of practical thinking is focus. He's inattentive. He's likely got inattentive disorder. He can't focus on what he should do. He knows what he wants to do because he can see it. If he knows what he should do, he can see what he's supposed to do, and he also desires to do it. Why isn't he focused on it? Have you ever asked yourself these kind of questions about your own life? Like, do you get up in the morning and sit on the edge of your bed and say, all right, why is my life like this? What have I done or haven't done to be in this position? And if you haven't done it, it's why you never can get out of that position. You gotta inventory yourself. I do it every day. I do it all the time. Like, why is this happening? What's my part to play in my life really sucking right now? Not what has everybody done to me. That's the wrong question. It's what have I allowed anybody to do to me? That's the question, but no one asks that. Why is he inattentive? This is a choice because he knows. His clarity's good. It's not that he doesn't know. This is perception. Clarity is perception. Look it, this guy's keenly perceptive. Right there. He's keenly perceptive. But why isn't he focused on it? He doesn't want to be. He doesn't want to be. All right? Now, let's look at his structured thinking set. I'll come back to all this, real or not. Aha! This is why. Now, this is what we call value compensation. All right? Value compensation. Here's what we're looking at the three worlds. All right? These three targets right here. We're looking at empathy, practical thinking, structured thinking. All right? We need, what's the score we're looking for? We're looking for bullseyes. All three bullseyes. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for 3 bullseyes, dead center. Have I ever seen that? No, and I never will. There's over 2 trillion outcomes to this thing. So this doesn't matter. We're not looking for the perfect person. There isn't that. What we're looking for is to see where anybody is on the spectrum. It's an axiological spectrum. All right? There is no bullseyes. Now, we get 1 once in a while, possibly 2. Rare if you get 3. You never get 3 across the boards in world and self dimensions. It's impossible. So we're not looking for perfect people. We're looking to see, how do you value? And if your values are uneven, like this, we got down here, not in the middle, not in the middle, and up here. So we've got a disproportionate right here. We've got structured thinking with an overvaluation, which is not in line with these. So why is this happening? He's compensating. All right? He's compensating. Well, let's take a look at it. Look at this. +7, +3, 10 to 3. 23 to 77. See that? So the clarity's okay. It's a 55. That's a 13 when you add all these together, which means he's got good clarity. 12 would be on this black line here. That's average, the average Joe. But we got a big old 7 here, anal retentive, right? So this is perfectionism, anal retentiveness. So for what he lacks in drive, he makes up for with analyzing. So we already know he's logical because in the first profile we looked at, he was lower on optimism, which is logical versus emotional. And so we know he's emotionally distant from people because logical people are emotionally distant from people anyway. And he's introverted on the big 5. And he's suspicious in the motivational orientation when it comes to trust. And he's distrusting. And in the empathy score, he's distrusting. So we got a lot going on here. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the self scores. Now, this is where we're going to find things. Because his neuroticism is pretty high. And he's withdrawn. Okay, so that's going to reflect the self scores. So when we go into the self section, we're not going to look at a world perception score. We're going to look at his self perception score. The world perception score says, how do I evaluate the world around me? I put my glasses on and oh, dang it. Hold on a second. Hey, hon. Hey. What is up? Oh, yeah? How, oh my gosh, you gonna do that? Oh my. Yeah. When is this? Is she there yet? Okay, hold on a minute. Let me put you on speaker. You there? Yeah. Okay. I gotta listen for her. Okay. Okay, she's gonna be head up in just a second. I'll call you back. Okay. Bye. Bye. Okay, so my wife is out somewhere hiding in a closet. Her friend's coming in and she's gonna scare her with a scary mask. Oh my God. Oh, right up my alley. All right, sweetheart. Beautiful. That's great. I can't wait. This is great. I didn't want to tell her she was on in the show today. All right, what were we doing? All right, world perception, self-perception. How clearly can you perceive the world around you in all its dimensions? People, useful things, and systems. We talked about that. Self-summary. How do we perceive ourselves? How clearly can we see ourselves? So John here is almost into the situationally operative zone, which I should put markers in here, shouldn't I? I really should. I'm gonna do that. Anyway, all right, let's look at the self summary. Whoa! Look what happened. Look. Right there. 78. Holy smokes. Oh my God. Look. Look. Look at as far as you can go here. Oh my God. All right. So we got an unconventional soul. Focused, ambitious. He wants out. That's why. Focused, ambitious. Get me out, get me out, get me out, get me out. Let's look at it. Let's start with his self-esteem. Now, self-esteem is the same as empathy. Role awareness is the same as practical thinking. Self-direction is the same as structured thinking. Okay? Remember, empathy, intrinsic, extrinsic, systemic, and then intrinsic, extrinsic, systemic, right? Same thing. Let's look at the self-esteem score. Oh my God. Look. Yeah, that's not good. Not good. Clarity, a 5. Why? Because these numbers down here are huge. Holy smokes. Um, um, Holy smokes. So what I did is I put John before I knew I was going to be going here. I put him in the axiological generator. All right. Um, uh, so using the axiological generator here. So you see his world scores. These are his DIMs right here. See DMI, DIMI right there. DIM 1, DIM 2, or intrinsic, extrinsic, systemic, right? These numbers aren't too bad. 12, 7. This one's really good. Remember, he got a 90. I'm in practical thinking on clarity. That's because he got a 7. Okay, now let's look at his self scores. Let me blow that up for you. Oh, I can't blow it up anymore. Sorry about this. 27 on the dim. Because he is way out of order here. Yeah, see, oh, I enjoy being myself. He's got that in the 14th position right there. You see that? See, that's a dissimilarity. It's way out of whack. He's got another dissimilarity, which means a positive thing is making a positive thing very negative. Dissimilarity. This guy's hurting. This guy's really, really hurting. All right, let's get. All right, so that's why we've got these numbers here. So self-worth, remember, it's the same as empathy, but instead of goodness in others, it's goodness in yourself. Like I'm good enough right here. I'm good enough. Does he overvalue his own goodness? He got a 0. How about I'm not good? 15. Okay, this is bad. All right. This is clinical depression. I'm not good enough. My good is not good enough. The problem is, remember with the empathy score, right? See that 60 there, clarity? He could see the goodness in other people. But in the self-esteem score, he cannot see the goodness in himself. You could tell John he's good all day long and he doesn't know what you're talking about. Character awareness. This has to do with his badness, his flaws, right? I have flaws. I don't have flaws. Well, which is it, right? We got a balanced score, but we got strong numbers here. So this is why he's unconventional. This is a problem. All right, let's look at role awareness. So what do you do in the world, John? Why are you on the planet? What is your up here functional value? See that right there? What's your functional value, John? Look at 5. What functional value? I don't have any functional value. That's why he has no confidence. Look at 13, negative 13, negative 81. Sometimes he gets overconfident, but it's being trounced by his lack of confidence. Competence is different from confidence, right? Competence. Does he think he needs help with uh, uh, what he's not good at? I need help. This guy is screaming for help. You see that? I mean, look at this. Feel as though you have lost your place in society and work. Right there. Right there. That's it. Right there. Okay? Lost all self respect, feeling no urgency, any need to continue in your current role, position. Lose connection with what you currently do as it relates to who you are and your best gifts or talents. Utterly disconnected from your functional ability. Bored, unchallenged, anxious, indifferent, lost, overwhelmed. This is bad. All right? Self direction. Where are you going, John? Clouded. 45. Right there. Okay? Uh, That's a 15. You got a score of a 15. You add these together, it comes to 15. So his clarity is visible. He's not sure. He's subject to errors in judgment if you were to ask him where he's going. He does some of it he doesn't know. Some of it he does. Some of it he doesn't. See, he's aimless right here. Aimless. His sense of purpose is missing. But he's trying to muster it, but he can't because he's being overtaken here. But he's committed. He's committed to the road to nowhere. You get this? He's committed to the road to nowhere. That's not good. All right. Let's look at his matrix, his axiological matrix, value matrix. Empathy, he's prudent, practical thinking. He's in a relaxed state. He's overstructured in his thinking. Self-esteem, he sees himself as deeply flawed. Role awareness, he's fruitless in his endeavors in the world. He can't get up. He can't get anything going. He can't make anything happen. And he's dedicated. He's dedicated to nowhere. So this guy needs rescue. All right. And that's what I'm going to do. So this has been awesome. So good to share this with you. Um, anyway, this is our new system. I hope you like it. If you're a consultant, a coach, a therapist, a psychiatrist, a teacher, I don't care. You can subscribe to this and have your own. You can have your own logo up here, and you have your own client base and have your own profiles, and you can take people through their emotional framework, the behavioral framework, the motivational framework, all of this. Will train you. You'll be a life changer if that's up your alley. Of course, don't do it if it's not. But I didn't show you all this. There's so much in this whole thing. Psychic energy score. Look at this guy, fully analytical, left-brained. Um, Human acumen right down here. I'm a co-founder, Human Acumen. My partner, Lee Smith, he built this whole thing. He took my brain and just put it in here. He did an amazing job, him and his team. But anyway, all good stuff. Well, there you have it. And I'm letting this thing populate with all my clients in here. Good stuff. So it was good to see you again. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comments below. I'll be honest with you, there's really not enough people saying we want to hear more. That really motivates me. When I don't see anything, I don't do anything. I don't know that's not a winning strategy. I know that. But that's not how I win. I win with my consulting, not my YouTube. And that's another reason probably why I don't do more. But I love doing this, and I don't know why I don't do it. I get preoccupied. I'm writing books and blah. But it was good getting back in here and doing this again. I hope to do it again soon. The more you ask for it, the more I'll give you. I'll tell you that right now. So anyway, all right, signing off. Let me click finish, and we'll chat again soon. Thanks for watching.